Okay, so the guys will get married and okay, she's put, I don't know, 30,000. Let's just say 30,000, okay, which is, I guess, in the middle somewhere, okay?
Yeah.
So if they've said 30,000, and then the problem is that if he doesn't want to keep her, he doesn't have to divorce her and pay her that amount. What most of them are then doing is they're pushing the girls to such an extent that then they are actually getting up and asking for a khula. And when they ask for a khula, then what happens to the Mehr? They don't get anything. Because the rule is that it's only if it's a talaq from the husband that then he would have to give the Mehr.
Wow.
But if it's
so
a
they've
khula...
kind of found a loophole. That's so wrong.
If you look at when the son is at home, for example, and if anybody around the community is saying to them that your son is doing this,
Oh,
and
drugs.
we're saying drugs, let's just talk about drugs, yeah? So
it's
if
a
they're
big
saying
problem in our
your
community.
son is on drugs, or, you know, we saw him drunk, and they're saying, no, not my son, my son never
ever.
done
You
this.
might murder somebody,
Yeah,
still, no.
but they will never accept it. Yeah, they will never accept that he could be anywhere wrong, and that will be exactly the same when they get married. And if the wife points out any of his flaws, oh no, my son can never do that. Yeah, it's not accepting when they're wrong, and that's where they will continue to do what they're doing because they can get away with it.
Yeah.
Because the parents are backing them. So that's a very dangerous thing for the parents to do, because you're going to be ruining your child's life.
Today on FitPod, we're joined by Gazala Saleem, a passionate marriage matchmaker on a mission to bring back peace, purpose, and Islamic values into modern relationships. From tackling the challenges the new generation faces in finding a spouse to redefining what halal love looks like in a digital age. She's here to drop some truths, bust some myths, and maybe even spark a few love stories along the way. So please welcome Gazala Saleem. How are you, Gazala? You okay?
Assalamu alaikum. Yes,
Walaikum
I'm very well,
salam.
thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for taking your time out. I know you're a busy person and you have an event which is not long.
That's
now,
right, on
is
the
it?
24th.
Oh, fantastic.
Here in
So
Birmingham.
before we get into the whole questions, do you want to just give us some information about that? Not that we need it. I don't personally need it. Zishan doesn't need it, but for the people.
I'm sure there's many people that do need it, who are
100%.
looking and
Yep.
would love to attend. It's on the 24th of August and it's at the Al Hijra Centre in Birmingham. So it is it's for the age bracket from 20 to 36, because we find that that is the majority of the age bracket that, you know, people are looking for in that age bracket. And we actually get more of an audience or more of participants within that age bracket, and they're the ones that are mainly looking. So that's where it is. It's at the Al Hijra Centre,
That's in
24th, in Birmingham.
Fantastic. I went through some of your TikTok, right? And you've done a lot of work, you know, bringing people together.
Alhamdulillah.
So my opening question is going to be, what inspired you to become a marriage matchmaker, and why is this work so important to you?
Okay. So my background is in education. I was an educator for many years. During COVID, we were teaching from home, and I completed some coaching qualifications, because coaching is something that is, there's a lot of skills from teaching that go into coaching, but it's more about mindset, it's more about reframing individuals' mind, and also transforming them from where they are. And at the time of COVID, there was many people that were struggling with their marriages because they were having to be at home. Normally you had their routine where the husband goes off to work, or the wife, you know, is probably going to work as well, and then they only meet for a couple of hours in the evening, and then it's the same routine again. So here everybody was at home and they had to, you know, deal with each other. And then that's why I decided to do, because people were having a lot of divorces and a lot of arguments.
I was going to say that sounds like a lot of divorces happening.
so I because I was doing a coaching qualification, I thought relationship coaching really was something that I felt was an important qualification to have, and understanding the dynamics of relationships and how they, how people have these differences between their partners and why marriages end. So after completing that qualification, I set up my company called Muslim Matrimonial Coach, and the idea was that I would help married couples sort of, overcome their difficulties in their marriages and fix them. But then I started being in Birmingham and being on Stratford Road. I got a lot of, parents and individuals contacting me saying, oh, would you do matchmaking as well? Because we're actually looking. And also people that were divorced then wanted to go on and get married as well. And, alhamdulillah, I was able to help a few of them. And then that word got out and it just started to, spiral from there. More and more people started approaching me. So the database started to grow. More and more individuals that were single wanted to find marriage. But I've always had this intuition of, doing that Cupid thing of matching people, even at school times, you look really good.
Isn't that a bit young?
Yes, even when I was a teenager, I had a friend called Tracy, and she had a very tragic story she did. Maybe I could share that, but it's quite sensitive, the story is. And I actually introduced her to a very childhood friend of mine. Wow. And alhamdulillah, they ended up getting married, after leaving school. I've always kind of, even through my in-laws family and my family, I've always saw where there's a potential of a match and getting people to match, because there's a lot of blessings when you actually do that as well. And it's always been something that I've been supportive of. I've always been able to get people to connected in that way. And alhamdulillah, because I already had those skills from the past, and now being a professional coach, relationship coach, I thought this would be a good idea to have the two together. Mm-hmm. And also the coaching doesn't need to necessarily be there for somebody who's getting coaching after they get married. It's important to actually have coaching before you get married. Yep. So that pre-coaching was something that like a light bulb moment, that thinking, well, hold on, instead of you going through and then have difficulties, why not have an approach where people are in the process of looking, but then explaining to them that what are their ideas, what do they think marriage is going to look like, because it's not the wedding day, is it, and the bling and everything. There's a lot more to marriage.
But how would you know that? Okay, for example, let's take me for example, right? I've come to you before I got married. Okay, I need coaching, marriage coaching. So how would you explain what marriage is before I've even found my spouse? Because the problem could be in my spouse, really.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's first and foremost, it's about self-discovery. So you need to, first of all, realize who you are, what your behaviors are, how is that going to impact your relationship. Apart from that, what is your love language, what is your attachment style, what are the triggers, what are the things that are going to trigger you, how are you around the house? What are your expectations of the marriage? So first of all, it's about working on the individual themselves so that they can discover their flaws. They can see that how in their behaviors or their mindset could have a negative impact when they get married, because they'll be individuals. They'll live in their life, they're comfortable, they know how they live, or how they leave their socks under the bed, or whatever they do. I
think every guy does that.
so the thing is, how often they have a bath, or because obviously once they get married, they're going to have to make an effort for the wife, and the wife also has to make an effort for the husband as well. So it's about that initially it's just about discovering yourself, understanding yourself, understanding, what you want, what your expectations, not only from the marriage, but what your goals are for your life, because you want to share those with your partner, and you want to be sure that they are aligned with you, so that when you do get married to them, that you're not left with, compromising all the time, and being flexible, because people have dreams, people have aspirations, and sometimes when they get married, they're just brushed under the carpet because they're trying to make the adjustment with the new partner, with the wife. But if they share that with them and are able to communicate that with them in the right way, then they would hopefully, inshallah, be able to be on the same page. They'll be able to help each other to grow, help each other to inspire each other, and that's all what it's all really about.
But when you say you got to discover yourself, okay, let's, for argument's sake, I've discovered myself, right? And what you've told me, I've done that. But now the partner that I've just chosen or I've found, and that doesn't like any of it, or it's totally the opposite. Now I've done all, like you said, I've been compromising, but it's gone the opposite way. So how does a potential person discover their partner then? Because then you've discovered yourself, but now the partner the spouse that you've just ended up with is totally the opposite.
So what we do is we provide a list of different techniques and questions for individuals to ask when they have their meetings, whether it's at an event or whether it's an introduction that we've arranged for them. And they would, these questions are based around values, around mindset, and about lifestyle, because a lot of people don't really look at lifestyle, but it does have a huge impact of the individual that you would get married to. And they would then create those questions. They would look at those questions, and then they would either use the same questions, or they can, add to them, delete from them, whatever that would be appropriate for them. So asking the questions will help them to understand that individual, that is this person, right for me. Okay. So they would, if so like I said to you earlier,
sense of that person,
and if they've got the right answers from the individual, that these are the answers that they're looking for, these are the questions, and they're expecting that these are the answers they want to get. And if they do, then they're ticking off the boxes to say, well, okay, this person. Obviously there has to be the physical attraction, there has to be, for some people, the background and all these other things in terms of the ethnicity or the family background and stuff. We ourselves, we do the normal verification of the individual, so we do our checks. Once we create the profile, then we check the ID to make sure that they are who they say that they are. We do if they're from another part of the country, we do a video call to see that there's no catfishing going on here, because that happens, unfortunately. And then we sort of do a DBS check as well, so there's no criminal record, and then we're comfortable in introducing people to them. But then the behavior and the mindset, or the other the habits of the individual, or their association with people, that has to be done through the individual themselves, because remember, it's just an introduction. We don't know if you're going to align with that person or not. They have to do their own due diligence, and we advise them on that. We give them the questions that we feel are going to help them to understand the individual better, so that they can make more informed decisions, and that's what we provide for them. That's the support that we would provide for them on that basis.
Fantastic. You say education, and you're passionate about education in relationships. Now, what do you think most people misunderstand about what marriage truly is?
I think ideally, what people misunderstand is, people think that marriage is just plain sailing and there's never going to be any issues. And the reality is that marriage is work from both parties. It needs effort, it needs focus, and it needs compromises at times, and there will be bumpy roads along the way, and different events in our life will change us as well. So if we look at ourselves now, we are not the same person that we were 5 years ago. Yeah. We as humans, we evolve, we change. Okay, so marriage is something that they need to understand, that you might start off with the honeymoon period, which most people do, but then when the reality of the bills and the life hits you, then there's other discussions that you're going to start having. Okay, that's going to be a whole new chapter in your relationship. Okay, and when children come along, then there's another thing as well. Okay, because now you've got a responsible child. Both of you are responsible for that child, the upbringing of that child, the school he's going to go to or she's going to go to, how much of the deen are they going to be learning about. There's a lot of input from both parents and responsibilities as well. And sometimes the wife might actually feel less attractive because she's just had a baby, or she might just feel she's pushing the husband away because she's not feeling the intimacy with the husband, and that quite often happens because of the hormonal imbalancements that she would get after having a child. So these all things need to be recognized, that you're starting a marriage. It's going to be a lifetime commitment, hopefully, inshallah. And in that lifetime commitment, there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be changes that are going to be happening in your lives as well. Yeah. And how is that going to impact your relationship? And also family dynamics as well, family involvement, and family involvement that you like and family involvement that you don't like. Where are the boundaries are going to be set between the two of you, that how often are we going to visit our families, and how much interference are we going to allow them to have, how much are we going to allow them to have a say in our children's lives as well, because sometimes grandparents do want to have that. Are we going to be living independently? Are we going to be, there's lots of questions that need to be sort of asked. So people need to see that is the way things are going to be. If we look at the other communities, people that are not sort of looking at it from an Islamic perspective, people tend to live with each other for a period of time, like 2 years. So they're in a relationship for 2 years, and during that period they get to learn about the individual. They get to learn about their flaws. They get to learn about their behaviors, or okay, now I understand him, and then they make the decision of marriage. Okay, but whereas Islamically, you can meet them a few times around maybe your mahrams as well, so you can't really get to know that individual on that sort of level, and then you get married and then you live with them through the process, and unfortunately
that's when you find out, oops.
That's why,
just joking.
And that's why, and unfortunately, so many people struggle then. Many people in the first 2 years, you find that a lot of marriages that they end very quickly. They end within 6 months or within 2 years.
Do you think that the couple, right, bring very, on that note, they bring very unrealistic approach or expectations to a marriage?
They can do
that. It'll be honeymoon period all the way through their life.
Yeah, I think they watch too much Bollywood movies. let's just face it. And the thing is, they have to look at home. They have to look at mom and dad, or they have to look at. And some people, the fact is that some people might come from a family where the parents are divorced. Okay, so they don't have a lot of thought about marriage. Okay, and some people are fearing going into marriage. We'll come to that sort of later, where so many people are just not getting married. They're just feeling that I'm better off single. Wow. Okay, so when people are getting married, they have to know that yes, there will be a honeymoon period, but life is is not easy. There are struggles in life, you know, and our deen teaches us that, okay, these are, it's like a jihad, you know, when there's a struggle in your life that you have to kind of like go out to work, you have to earn, you have to pay for the things that you have, the luxuries that you have. If you want extra things, then you have to do more, you know, then you have to, and can you budget? Can you see that, okay, how are we going to sort of, you know, manage this, you know, managing our finances as well. A lot of these days, we find that the females and the males are working, okay, and sometimes the females are higher earners than the men as well, because they're more qualified, they've got more experience in their field, and sometimes that can be a problem as well, you know, because
I was going to come to that, Yeah, sorry, I wasn't meaning to cut you off.
So, you know, these are the issues that we're having. So when people are coming to us and they're saying that, okay, my son's earning X amount, or the son is involved in the conversations as well, but we need somebody who's also earning as well, you know, immediately we think, well, okay, what's kind of, you know, what is their purpose of this conversation?
Yeah.
So they're looking for a girl who can actually earn and contribute towards the house, okay? Mm-hmm. This is a big issue now, isn't it? Because then they would bring up the thing that, okay, Islamically it's supposed to be the boy who's supposed to be providing, and okay, she is earning, but he shouldn't be looking at her finances, okay? No. So the other major issue that we have is a lot of the times the girls are saying that they do not want to live with the in-laws, and they want the guy to have his own house independently, either purchased or rent. And when it is purchased, then a lot of the times, if they agree that, okay, we will purchase the property, what we have is that then is the boy side saying, that's fine, we'll put half the deposit down, you put half the deposit down, and then both of us will contribute 50-50 towards the house, and that's fine, we'll live independently, okay? So, and the idea behind that is that if you are putting 50-50, if the marriage does dissolve, if it doesn't go forward, then they're already thinking about this, okay? Then, you know, she's going to get 50% anyway, and he's going to get 50%. So why should we be putting all our effort and all our finances into it when she's not going to make a contribution, okay? So there's lots of arguments that people are having.
It's becoming very, just by having this conversation, it's already becoming very complicated.
Yeah. Right, Mehr is another one. Mehr is another one. You know, so the Mehr, as you know, is obviously a gift to the wife when she gets married, and she can demand or ask for anything. And if he's able to, then he would need to honor that Mehr, okay? And it can be a deferred Mehr, which could be something that, you know, he would need to give her in the situation where he then divorces her, okay? Yeah. So, you know, they're asking for 100,000, 50,000.
Do you think girls are very unrealistic as well?
They're looking for their protection. They're looking for their, you know, so
protection could be 10 grand, 20 grand.
Exactly.
You know, it'll keep you going for 6 months or whatever, a year if you're sensible.
But there's a big thing about this now. Okay, so the guys will get married, and okay, she's put, I don't know, 30,000. Let's just say 30,000. Okay, which is I guess in the middle somewhere. Okay, so if they've said 30,000, and then the problem is that if he doesn't want to keep her, he doesn't have to divorce her and pay her that amount. What most of them are then doing is they're pushing the girls to such an extent that then they are actually getting up and asking for a khula. And when they ask for a khula, then what happens to the Mehr? They don't get anything. Because the rule is that it's only if it's a talaq from the husband that then he would have to give the Mehr.
Wow.
But if it's
so
a
they've
khula,
kind of found a loophole kind. Oh, that's so wrong.
Yeah,
that's
of course it is. I also get a lot of parents that most of our conversations are with parents, okay, because that's a traditional thing where the parents will approach and say, I've got a young daughter, I've got a young son, I'm looking for somebody suitable for him or for her, and you know, what do you have on your database, okay? And the mothers of the girls in particular, they want their daughters to live very close to them. Okay, so for example, if they're from Birmingham, they'll say, can you make sure that you find somebody only in the Birmingham area? I don't want anybody from Coventry or from, any other area, just in Birmingham. And I've asked them this question, and I know what the answer is every single time. And the answer is that, okay, if she has a problem, then she can come back home. So if you're telling her that, you've got the door open, then of course she's going to think, okay, I had a little argument here, I can go back home.
I'm going home.
But she is going to have arguments. There are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be disagreements. You have to try to give her the guidance, so that she
than an option. Give her the guidance.
Give her the guidance that look, okay,
if
it's really bad, if it's very toxic, if it's something that out of the blue, little ups and downs, little arguments here, that doesn't warrant you sort of returning back home. And once a person is divorced, just the singles these days, it's so difficult for them to find a suitable spouse. And once somebody's divorced, you can imagine how it is for them.
It's I know a few people who are looking, and it's just a nightmare for them. They just don't know what to do. Like, the men, like he says, they've got so, like, even now men talk about being the real men and stuff, but when it comes to it, it's a totally different story. Like I said, you find a loophole, but you're only doing a loophole for now, right? Because you will be accountable for it. Everyone's going one direction, and that's towards your Lord, really, right? And how long are you going to use this loophole for?
It's true.
So, okay, you might get away with it here, but you're still accountable.
Of course,
you know what I mean?
And also, another point I'd like to bring in is the mummy's boys.
Yes, the real boys and the mummy's boys. Oh yeah, I saw your TikTok on that, I think.
Mummy's boys, yeah. Oh my God, there's so many mummy's boys out there,
What is a mummy's boy?
I was going to say, what is a mummy's boy?
A mummy's boy is that everything he wants to do, anything he needs to do, he needs to first consult with mum and say, Mum, I need to put the washing into the washing machine. How do I put on the washing machine?
Oh, God.
You're a 25-year-old guy.
You're like that, aren't you?
Or for example, okay, I'm going out shopping. Which toothpaste shall I buy? Have you not got a brain of your own? So sort of, mummy's boys are everything they have to do. They have to
channel it
through mom. Okay, so obviously when they get married, and if they're doing this, how is the wife supposed to feel about their husband then? Because the wife, if he's
married a man,
not a mummy's boy, and this can be really irritating when a grown man. And they're still living at home at the age of 35, a lot of them. Okay, if there's just the one son, and that could be understandable. But if they can kind of like live independently, maybe they should, live independently. I know that there's a big cost to it, and house prices are so high and everything. And culturally, it's something that we do live with, parents as well, especially if the parents are getting elderly. But still, having to make the decisions themselves, having to consult with the wife rather than running to the mom for everything.
Wrong, isn't it? That's wrong.
Of course it's wrong.
I mean, there's time and place for that, for everything. There's time and place for everything.
Yeah.
But not all the time. There might be a decision where you spoke to your wife, but you just want to get your mom's advice or your dad's advice as well on it.
Yeah,
that's fine.
That's different. Yeah, that's different.
Right? But like you said, if you're going to the shopping and you want to do this and you want to do that, or ask your mom what you're going to wear.
Yeah, they've been programmed in that way. They've been programmed in that way because the mums have to tell them that, okay, you're a man now, you make your own decisions. Don't have to ask me. You don't have to ask me for every little thing. They need to cut that cord and say, do things on your own now. It's a big world out there.
Do you blame the parents, or do you blame the upbringing of those parents?
The parents try to do the best that they can, and sometimes parents need to learn also what we said about the girl and the boy who are looking to get married, but they need to also know when is it when is it time for them to say something, and when is it time for them to take a step back and tell the daughter or tell the son, the grown adult daughter, the grown adult son, that you are now going to get married. You are also going to become parents, and you need to be making decisions on your own now. You know, and if they've given them a good upbringing, and if they, you know, some parents are like that. Some parents understand that, you know, our interference or our presence is not going to help them, that we need to allow them to sort of make their own decisions, and whether they're right decisions or wrong decisions, at the end of the day, that they're their decisions.
Exactly. That's how you learn, right?
Yeah. So that's how you learn.
You'll make a couple of wrong decisions, but then, you know, hopefully you'll make the right one, and that's life, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But how do you educate people without sounding like it's a lecture?
Yeah.
Do you sit them down and right, okay.
Yeah, I think you have to question them and get their, but what we do is we question the person to find out what their point of view is. And then you would give them different scenarios, different ways that they could have reacted in that situation, you know, different approaches that they could have had that would have had a different outcome. Because different approaches would have different outcomes of things. So getting them educated in that way, where you would not let them feel it's a lecture or anything, but more of an exercise in terms of like discovering what the issue is and how they could change their tone or change the communication or change their mindset in terms of, you know, okay, I could have done that could have been a better approach. But everybody's trying to do their best most of the times, you know, they don't mean harm, they're not malicious or anything unless they are in that way. And sometimes you can tell if somebody's doing things, you know, in a deliberate sort of way. I guess you could, you know, that okay, they've just got a lot of hate for that individual, or they just don't really care what happens to them. And then sometimes you have to just see that maybe that person's safer and better, you know, being away from that person.
Wow, that's crazy. But how can young people now balance love, compatibility, and Islamic values and principles in choosing a spouse? How do you do that? Because you got your physical attraction, then there's, well, I don't know how many attractions there are, but there's probably loads.
I think people, what I see in people is that, yes, there has to be the physical attraction, but also their belief system. You know, they have to make sure that the person aligns with their belief system. They have to, and it is difficult, it's not easy. The only way they can find out is by asking the questions, trying to establish whether they see similar things, see the world in a similar light, whether they see right and wrong in the same way. Because otherwise, if they get married to someone and if they've got completely different views or completely different beliefs, then that's going to be a hurdle for them. Okay, and it's more about the way they communicate with each other, the way that they set things up in terms of their boundaries or their, you know, what they want from life. And if both of them do see eye on eye, and if they do see things similarly, then they are a good match. But then having said that, it's something that just doesn't stop there. It's something that needs to be worked on throughout their life. You know, even a little thing, people that I know of people that have been married for 20 plus years and they still end up having a divorce. Okay.
Wow. Something, you know, that's really sad, you know.
And it's happening, isn't it?
It's horrible, yeah.
You see that, you know, their children are grown up and something just, you know, triggers or something's just happened, changed in their life that they just don't have any connection with each other. They just don't feel the...
Maybe restart the Wi-Fi or something, I don't know.
So
switch it on and off, maybe reset yourself.
So, I mean, I don't know if... So, I mean, we've got an application. Okay, am I allowed to mention this?
Yeah, of course you can.
So we've got an application called Love Connection.
Okay.
And this has been developed with a lot of expertise gone into it, and there is a whole section on coaching where assessments, there's lots of tools in there. So there's assessments there are goal setting there. So this is for people who are looking to get married, but also people who are married as well, so they can see, okay, I'm struggling with my communication, my husband's just not talking to me, he's just kind of frozen, and he just we've got no
distance is increasing,
he's distancing himself, and he's very secretive, and how do I try to make sure that I can get through to him? Okay, so what tools and techniques they could use to help them. So it's more of a self it's a self so it's a self it's a tool that they can use. They don't need to appoint a coach, because coaches can be quite expensive. They can use the tools to understand what's happening in their life, and then they can use an approach to fix the issues that they have with their partner. So it's about expectations, about finance, about intimacy. There's lots of different areas that are on that application, and hopefully, inshallah, that should help a lot of people understand relationships better.
Again?
It's called Love Connection Limited.
Love Connection.
Yeah.
Love Connection. You can download it from.
It's available on Android, and inshallah in the next week or two it will also be available on iOS. It's already been tested and everything's been done. The Android is already, we've got about 500 users. It only just launched about 2 weeks ago. So the other iOS.
There's a lot of people that need help in that case.
I think there's a lot of people globally that need.
Might as well put a subscription fee on it.
Yeah.
But talking about the apps and stuff.
Yeah.
This new generation now faces an absolute unique struggles in finding a spouse, right? And what are the top 3 things that you see again and again and again with people?
Too much high expectations.
Wow.
I think people are just because of social media, people are looking at guys who have got a lot of money, who buying all these diamond rings and taking them on holidays and stuff. Wow. But the normal Joe Blogs doesn't have all that, and not everybody can do that. So their expectations are just way out of line. Yeah, and for the guys want the supermodel. Okay, so you're seeing a lot of the younger girls going and getting plastic surgery done on their lips, on their nose, on their, they've got fake everything. Fake everything. Yeah. Hair extensions and eyelashes and everything's fake. Botox and everything. Yeah. So fake nails and fake everything. Yeah.
When you think about it.
It's all fake. Yeah. It's all fake. And because they're doing it, who are they doing it to impress? They're doing it to impress the guys, because that's what the guys are looking for. And they feel, okay, I'm $1 million because I've had all this surgery done, so I need to find that $1 million guy to marry.
to pay my debt off. I've just spent $1 million.
So I think the expectations is just one of the main things, I would say, yeah?
Do you think that it's been created deliberately just to kind of cause this problem? Because sometimes I think maybe this whole thing was just done deliberately to cause friction and problem within the communities and the way everything is. Call it conspiracy, whatever. It's it's in front of us, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
It's not something that it doesn't happen. It happens.
It happens. Definitely. I mean, the thing is, apart from this conspiracy or whatever we might call it, however it's come about, it's come about. It's come about
from me.
Okay. The other thing is female independency. They are independent now. Okay. So the females, alhamdulillah, being a person who's come from education, a background of education, I love the fact that our girls are getting, a good education, okay? They're able to stand on their own feet. If, for example, they get into a situation where their marriage doesn't, work out, at least they've got that ability to earn their own money and crack on with life. Okay, so before they used to go back to their parents' home and they were dependent on the brothers or the father to sort of like look after them. Now they don't have to do that. Okay, they're earning their own money now. Sometimes that being an independent woman and then having to be a wife, that interdependency of the husband can also cause a lot of problems as well. So they're enjoying their independent life. The girls these days, they have their own money. They are going out with their friends for desserts. They're going on holidays with their friends. They don't have anybody to answer to. Does that make sense? So they feel that the husband is like a bit of I'm going to have to
side thing, yeah.
I'm going to have to cook for him. I'm going to have to clean for him. I'm going to pick his socks up. I'm going to have to listen to his family. I'm going to have to entertain his family when they come. And sometimes they just feel that this is a big headache for them. I've had events where girls have come and they've come to the events with their parents. And as they've been leaving, they said, they've been talking to mom and saying, well, I've done that now, mom. And, I don't want you to be taking me to another event. They've not even made the effort of interact with anybody. It's just like a tick box that, okay, I've done that, and you can't tell me to do that. And some of the girls have come when I've heard them communicating with each other, and they've said, my mom's been doing my head in because she's been saying I have to go and find somebody to get married to.
See, now
but
isn't
if they've
that
not
a
got
problem? Yeah, I mean, isn't that now a big problem in our community?
Yeah, the guys are the same. They say exactly the same things.
Oh wow! I thought I might have the guys back, but you let me down, guys.
No.
Right, next event there's no food, guys.
No, but we have a very different system in our events. Okay, so we obviously see that there is this mindset problem of the youngsters. We see that they're just doing this exercise for the parents. We give them an activity to do at the beginning so that they can start understanding the importance of relationship and marriage. It's part of our deen. You're completing half of your deen when you get married. To live a single life, an independent life, you'll have the money, you'll have the luxury that you want, but you won't actually experience
after 40 or after 50.
Then they start panicking.
Well, then it's too late. It was your own choice, right?
But they're panicking. I get a lot of people at the age of 38, 39, and it's normally just the next day after their birthday.
Do you laugh at them as well? I heard you laughing at my event. See you later.
I remember you 6 years ago.
Yeah, 6 years ago, you were like, I just wanted to tick the box. See you later now. Bye.
I think because at that stage, they feel they've got a lot of choice. That there's people that are probably interested in them, people that want to get, but then they go on to get married. If they're not interested in them, if they're going to reject them, if they're going to reject them, that's fine. They'll go and find someone else, okay, and they'll get married. But if they're doing it as an exercise to say, well, okay, it's fine, I don't really need to get married, I can look after myself. And when they reach a certain age, they're going to start realizing that all their friends are now settled, all of them are married with children. And then with the females, they need to remember that there's a biological clock as well. Not even a divorced 40-year-old is going to want, doesn't want to. I have 40-year-old divorcees that don't want to necessarily marry a 37-year-old who's never been married before, because they feel if they want to have children perhaps with them, then are they really going to be able to have children, because there's a biological clock that's ticking for the girls. So they do need to realize that it is crucial that they get married at in a timely manner, and that's what our deen tells us as well, that a woman in particular should get married at the right age so that she can have children.
Our people are now just going too Western for their own good when it comes to marriage.
Of course, we are
this
influenced.
whole independent thing.
Yeah, of
right,
course we are
I'm
influenced.
not against it, right? Yeah. Like, it's good to get education, it's good to be independent, but there's got to be a sense of reality to life as well.
Yeah,
right?
and I see where the girls come from as well. Okay, so they want to be sure that the person that they're going to marry is definitely 100% the person that they do want to marry, because it's a one-time life chance that you have of marrying. They don't want to get married and they get divorced as well, because they see a lot of that around, and they don't want to be that divorced woman. Okay,
being divorced is not a bad thing, really. Like,
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
Our society's made this whole thing about, oh, you're divorced now. That's it.
Thank
End
you.
of story.
Yeah, thank you. And
Right.
our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, majority of the women that they married were divorced,
Yeah.
or widowed. Okay, and what does that tell us as Muslims? That is the acceptance of that. If our Prophet, the best of humanity, the best person that walked this earth, was married to women who were divorced and widowed, then who are these other guys? So many mothers come to us. Oh, we don't want to marry a divorcee. Sorry, we have to reject this person. We can't marry a divorcee. But if our Prophet married a divorcee,
but they'll give you all the hadiths, know.
And even the age bracket now. Okay, so our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the first wife that they married was 15 years older than Mahr Khadija. Yeah, so
and she was a businesswoman.
She was a businesswoman. She was a widow.
Well off.
Yeah, she was well off. Absolutely.
Can
she
you
was
imagine
working.
a guy doing that now?
Yeah, exactly. And she was a widow. She was, she had children, I think, similar age to just a few years younger than the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. Yeah. So when I tell them these things, oh yes, that's okay and practical, that's possible, but we want this type of girl and we want that type of girl, for our son. And the sons don't really sometimes mind if it's a couple of years older or 2 or 3 years older,
Guys
but it's
don't.
the family that has the issue with it.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah. They shouldn't.
not like-
And I think people should open their mind and accept people that are divorced, because it's something that our Prophet did, and we should follow what our Prophet did. These were lessons for us for a reason.
Yeah. They're not just happen for nothing. They were just, obviously God knows that this will come about.
Yeah.
And it will happen.
Yeah.
And it's okay to, marry a divorcee or a widow or someone who's earning more than you. But then the problem now for guys is, if a girl is earning more, because the girl is now independent, she can slap it on the guy's face, say, listen, I wear the pants at home. Then where does that leave the guy? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there's that inferior complex,
what?
Yeah,
that's not right either.
Absolutely. I think the woman, if she is earning more than her husband, and if she knows that her husband is earning less, she shouldn't use that as a tool, to say that, okay, I'm better than you, or I'm earning more than you, or who are you? Because there is a respect that the husband deserves as well, no matter what he's earning.
Yeah.
And I have found that women that are divorced, that get married a second time, they make more of an effort to make their second marriages work. And I think that's also
they've been through.
Yeah, they've been through it, and they don't want that again. They don't want to go through the divorce again, so they will they would reflect on what they went through in their first marriage, and maybe look at how they can try to adjust themselves to make the second marriage work, because otherwise it's just going to be another label on them, really, and then when they are afterwards looking for another potential match, then we've been divorced twice, then that kind of people think, well, hold on, is this person an issue with this person, or what's happening?
Because you can't be divorced twice. If it's the same person, you shouldn't be divorced twice. It's either you are lying to us about something, you're not being truthful, or something's not right somewhere. Unless you're just not able to connect with that person, or some people really, I have had people that have been divorced 2-3 times, to be honest with you. Wow.
And they are still looking. So some people can just be very unlucky, but people don't see that. The world doesn't see it that way.
People don't make that effort.
Some people
anymore.
Just can't. Some people should. They should. And they should take marriage seriously, and they should take their responsibilities seriously, and they should make a lot of effort when it comes to marriage. But I think sometimes people just give up too quickly. I think people just think that's an easier option for them, rather than struggling through the situation that they've got and see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. They just see darkness around them, and they just think, I need to get out of this, okay? And I think people that really, do it from a perspective that think, well, okay, it is really gloomy. But is there a possibility of me coming out in a better light? And it means commitment from both of them. The thing is, there's this stigma where couples, when they are struggling with their marriage, they won't go to a coach or they won't go to a counselor because they just feel that, okay, we need to sort it between ourselves. They'll talk to the parents, and the parents are going to be biased because they're going to be biased either for the son or for the daughter. So they need somebody
right for the boy's side, and the girl's right for the boy's side.
Absolutely.
For the girl's side.
Yeah.
And the actual matter is never resolved.
And they're not experts either.
Yeah.
They are not. The parents are not experts in relationships. They need to set themselves aside, make an investment in getting a good coach or a relationship counselor who can then support them both. You see this in a lot of movies, Hollywood movies, where they're coming and having couples therapy.
Yeah.
Do you see this in our community, couples therapy?
No.
Very, very, very rarely. Yeah, it's not even heard of. Couples therapy is a great way of both the individuals talking about in a safe place, talking to an expert about the issues that they're having, so that they can then analyze what's going on here and then give them some tips and tools, some activities to do in terms of, some goals to set and some something to do away from the actual meeting as well, and then coming back and see how they're getting on. Okay, so these are things that people need to explore instead of just saying, okay, we're just going to get a divorce. It's quite easy to do that, isn't it? And parents are just very quick in saying, well, okay, they're no good, and we're just going to, they were no good people, and we just need to do that. And how do you know that the next person is going to be a good person or a bad person?
Or how do you know if the problem is in your daughter or in your son? Because if the problem is in your son, then this problem will always be there, no matter what. So you're telling me everyone that your son marries is a problem?
Yeah. That's a very good point that you made, because if you look at when the son is at home, for example, and if anybody around the community is saying to them that your son is doing this, and
drugs.
we're saying drugs, let's just talk about drugs. So if they're saying your son is on drugs, or we saw him drunk, and they're saying no, not my son, my son never done this. But they will never accept it. They will never accept that he could be anywhere wrong, and that will be exactly the same when they get married. And if the wife points out any of his flaws, oh no, my son can never do that. It's not accepting when they're wrong, and that's where they will continue to do what they're doing because they can get away with it, because the parents are backing them. So that's a very dangerous thing for the parents to do, because you're going to be ruining your child's life. Okay. Absolutely. And do you really want to do that?
It's not your child's life, it's the other person is the other person that you've brought into your life,
Absolutely.
And that is a big responsibility.
Absolutely.
You brought someone else's daughter or son or whatever, not son, sorry, if it's the boy, it's the girl. You brought the girl back into your life. You have to take care of that human being.
Of course you do.
You can't just be like, no, you're the problem, so you just kick them out, kick her out, and then my son is,
perfect.
Perfect. No,
and then
wrong.
The stories that they tell people of why the reason the divorce happened.
Then all the gossip.
So the thing is, there's a lot of deception. There's a lot of people not telling the truth about their situation or what their habits are or what their things are, because they're in denial themselves. And that's how it is. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give everybody a diet, and may this situation where people are struggling to find the right person, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for them. 100%. We as a matchmaking organization or as a coaching organization, we're committed to helping people and supporting people and trying to find the right person for them. And we always say to them that you have to do your own due diligence. You have to go to the house. You have to, see the way that they live, and then you need to make the decisions. You need to do your background checks if you want to go back to where they've originally come from and see what their houses are like, or find out more information about them. It's really vital. Of
course, because you can't do all of that.
No, you can't.
Right? You can't personally do that.
We don't know what the motive is of the individuals.
Exactly. So that's down to the person who's interested in that to kind of go in further and
Yeah.
like I said, do their due diligence and stuff. But coming to dating and courting, from your perspective, what is the biggest misconception about courting compared to dating? Because I had to read up on what courting is. I was like, is it like going to court and getting married?
So obviously within our communities, they have to meet with the person. They have to get to know them to see that if they are compatible with them or not. Our aim is that if they can try to go with a mahram, okay. Dating obviously is not allowed in Islam, which means that the free mixing of the two genders, where they could go out and
have their personal space.
Have their personal space
before marriage,
if they're in a public space, and if they're sensible, and if they do have. We always advise that they have a mahram with them, okay? And it could be a sister for the girl, an older sister, or anyone, someone, okay? So because they have to get to know each other, they have to get to know each other, and sometimes when you're in an area where your parents are, you can't open up, and you can't sort of, there's a bit of shyness and a bit of reluctancy to sort of like have the joke and the laugh in front of your parents with the person who's probably going to be your potential spouse, okay? So and parents are understanding of that, okay? So parents often would share the telephone numbers of their daughter, that okay, you can speak to her directly. But when there's a meeting that takes place, then it's normally with somebody with her, okay, or in a public place, so that she wouldn't go off. But they don't want to send her on her own, because there could be a risk of her being convinced to go and meet him on his own, so they want somebody responsible with her. And I think that's fair for her. She needs to make that decision. It's
especially
her.
In this day and age, you don't know who you're meeting. You just don't know.
Yeah.
It could be anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at that moment of time, you don't know their history. You don't know where they come from.
No, you don't.
What's happened. This guy might be a criminal.
Yeah. In digital, sort of meetups where people are meeting online and then they're meeting up, there's a huge risk there, okay?
Yes.
Because you don't know who the person is. It could have if depending on which platform they're using, they could have put a different picture on, or they could have the catfishing. We hear of that quite often.
Wow.
But when they're coming through a professional matchmaker and it's a personalized introduction, they're verified. Even on our application, we've got all verified. All the profiles are verified, so there's IDs that they've uploaded. We've checked it on the back end and then verified those profiles. If the information doesn't match up, then unverified profiles.
So you have unverified profiles.
So they don't go live. They get deleted. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So
we ask them. Once it's unverified, then the team will say that the details that you put onto the system, they're not verified. Is there any particular reason for that? Can you upload the correct information that's been asked?
Yeah.
If they don't do that, then they'll be deleted. Then
struck off. Yeah, which is brilliant, I think, and it's safe.
Yeah, it's safe
for anyone to kind of consider. Is it the same app, the Love
Connection?
It's the same app with all the other information on there as well.
Yeah, so there's the matchmaking side, and then there's the coaching side.
Okay.
So there's two sides to it.
Within
an app, and they'll be able to book for the events on there as well. We're going to be doing online events.
Because I know a few people who are looking, so I'll forward that
Inshallah.
to them and get them to upload their stuff as well. Because, look, there's a lot of this people are still like, I don't want to tell people how I met this person or how I met that person online. But thing is, everything is online now.
It's digital time now,
everything
isn't it?
is digital now, so there's no shame in that.
Shouldn't be at all.
Now, if you met somebody through an app, a verified app, well, that's where everything is going.
It's true.
So you're not gonna, and people don't want to have that, arranged marriage either.
Yeah, they want to get to know the person, so that's an opportunity for them to meet with people in a halal way, because parents can be involved in that as well. Parents can be, okay, who are you talking to? Okay, that's fine. These are verified profiles. These are real individuals. They're not just fake profiles that are being put on there. Every single person is verified. So there's
I've got
not
another
married.
idea
There's
for
a
you
married people.
For the
going-
app, I've got another idea for you for the app. So here we is. Check this one out, right? I won't charge you for this, but I think it's a fantastic idea. $1 million.
Okay.
Right? So when you upload a profile,
Yeah.
right, they've verified it. What you should have is their guardian's number that they have to upload, right? And their verification as well. So when the girl or guy goes out to meet someone, the guardian should get a text message as well saying that so-and-so is going out to meet X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, so someone has a track record of what's
So whatever
happening.
communication they're having with the girl, that also gets communicated with the parent as well.
Yeah, so they should get a notification that, you know, this is happening,
Yeah.
that's happening, that's happening. So it's something
No,
could
that's
be
good,
really,
yeah.
really
Like
good.
a tracker type of
Yeah,
thing.
like a tracker, that's it. I didn't want to use the word tracker, but it sounds a bit... But see where I'm coming
Yeah, no,
from?
that's a good idea, that is, yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah, incorporate that. I won't charge you for it.
Thank you.
But do you think the dating culture has influenced Muslim relations even in practicing communities now? A lot of people just want to date and not commit. Do you see that a
Yeah,
lot?
I think that is an increasing thing. More and more people want to meet the person, get to know them, and then say, you know, reject or accept. So I wouldn't call that a dating as such. It's just a meetup, isn't it, rather than a dating. So there's obviously meetups that are happening up and down the country all the time. We arrange them for people as well. And of course, events is a big meetup as well, really. That's a one-to-one sort of, they get an X amount of time with each individual to get to know them. And then they have the selection. They can fill in a grid to say who they want to have as a select, a further in-depth sort of meeting with. And at that time, we do say that if the parents want to get involved, they can do as well. But dating within the communities is something that people are seeing, that rather than just rushing and getting married and then not finding the right person, is it not better to take your time to get to know the individual a little bit, and then once you know that they're okay, you know, because obviously a lot of the youngsters born and brought up here, and in fact their parents have been born and brought up here as well. So this is like third, fourth generations that we have in this country, and the parents' mindset is very different as well. They might be a bit more towards that it's important that they actually meet the person to make that selection themselves. So there might be a little bit of flexibility there rather than the rigid sort of religious sort of idea that, you know, it needs to be done. And there will be parents that are saying, no, we'd want to do it completely in a religious way. You can never even see the girl, you know, that you have to kind of, you know, see her in the parda. It's only going to be until you have the marriage. I don't know how that works, but, you know.
Yeah, but it's difficult in this day and age, having that kind of approach.
Yeah.
But I suppose, you know, it's very, very difficult to kind of give the two ideas some kind of balance. Personally, you know, the whole face covered, you can't see this, that, the other. It's hard.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, everybody wants to see who they are going to spend the
absolutely.
time. Imagine, you know, getting to know a girl, you've never seen her. On the day of the wedding, you get to see her and she's got like mustache and stuff, and then you've buggered.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that historically used to happen, didn't it? You know, people used to not even see a photograph. My grandmother, when she got married, and she always used to tell us this story that, I met your nana, you know, on the wedding day. Wow. You know, and she never met and she'd never met him, you know, and you know, she said, I was so happy to see that he was a tall, handsome guy, you know, but she said that, you know, I just didn't know. My nanny was a very tall, beautiful woman, and people used to say to her mother, I mean my nanny's mother, that you've given Noor's hand in marriage, and you don't even know what the guy actually really looks like because you've just met the family. So she used to say, oh well, the family is so good looking and so nice. I'm sure I'm sure the son, and that's how they used to do the marriages those days, and they were very successful as well
because there was no social media influence.
Absolutely, and people used
just
to
kind of got on with
got on with it, and they got on and they had successful marriages. Sometimes people just used to show a photograph of the person.
My sister got married off a photograph. Just like,
and that's it. Here she is, and or you know, and
successful.
Here's the person you're marrying. It wasn't even a choice. It just said, this is the person.
My sister did get a choice, but they were like,
here's
cool.
the person you're getting married to. Okay, and that was it. Can you imagine that now?
Back then, they had no expectations. Back in those days,
yes,
people didn't have expectations. It was no, and there was no that mixing as well.
Yeah,
of which it is today.
That's right.
You know, it's so normal, mixing and everything. It's just normal, and people get to know people, and they treat them like brothers and sisters. And then when it's this marriage thing comes about, you think, oh no, I've known that person for 15 years since she was born. You know,
I can't marry.
She's like my sister.
Yeah.
You know, but if someone has never seen someone, maybe it's a different mentality then.
Mm-hmm.
I can't comment on that because I'm not from that era.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think any of us are from that era.
Yeah.
Right, we're still young guns here. But moving on, talking about events, right? Now, you say, you know, the serious candidates that come to your events or sometimes get missed out because of this whole attraction of wrong mindset. People go there to just kind of mingle, or it's just a waste of time. So how do you filter for people who are genuinely ready for marriage?
So first of all, our events are held in mosques. Okay. So with that,
not in like halls, because I've been to one before I got married. Right, let me stop you there. And it was total waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that person personally because I did the flyers and I ended up going to his. I was like, what are you doing here? Like, oh shit, like one of those ones. But yeah, it's very difficult because the level of people, it was just like, I'll tell you a story, right? There's a guy sitting next to me, a father of two, divorcee. He's chucking paper at people. Like he's cutting it and he's throwing things at people. And I'm thinking,
is he in high school?
Seriously, he did that sitting next to me. I seen it with my own eyes. I'm thinking, no wonder you're divorced. Like you're acting like, and this was probably like 10 odd years ago. And that's the level of people that came to that. And I was thinking, I was embarrassed for him.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I was embarrassed for him. I was like, what? After that, I never went again. I was like, nah. But I got introduced through my cousin. Okay. So yeah, best. I think the introductions are the best.
Yeah, definitely. Best. So I mean,
but coming back to your events, yes. Sorry, that was my little story.
Okay, so what in our events, we want only people that are serious for marriage to come to the events. Okay, parents are very serious, so they would bring their daughters, their sons. But it's a family event. It's a family event, so we encourage that it's the parents should be involved because they have a role to play. Yep. And I think what we found is that the reason why people are struggling is because parents are working and they've really reduced their social circle quite significantly. Yeah. By coming to the events and meeting other parents that are also looking for their young daughter or young son, a suitable match for them, they can then start making friends and growing their circle in that way because they'll know other parents are also in the same boat as them. And they may have met somebody out of that event that they can then help to connect, that person, the person's daughter or son with. So that's the reason we do the family sort of events. With the guys and the girls, because when they come to a mosque, naturally, when you go to Allah's house, you feel an urge to doing, telling the truth. You have you feel the urge that you're doing something for your deen. you know, that you're doing something to complete half your deen. And that's what we start off with as well, you know, to make sure that when we do our welcomes, that we give that sort of pet talk to them to say that, you know, that you've made an effort to come here, and this is great because this is what is expected of you in a particular age. And then that kind of sets the, you know, the mindset right from the beginning.
Yes, that's the tone.
Yeah. So once that happens, and once we've done our quiz that we do, you know, we do like an interactive quiz.
Like a bingo.
It's like I don't know if you've heard of Kahoots, yeah? So we either do a Kahoot, which is like an interactive thing they do on their devices, and they answer some questions. It starts getting them to think about relationships and marriage right from the beginning. And when they kind of like, it reframes their mind, you know, it kind of really puts them into that zone that, okay, I'm here for a purpose. I'm here to find somebody who is going to be suitable for me. I need to ask them the relevant questions that I already have emailed to them, so they've already had an opportunity to look at those questions. They've already had an opportunity to look at the profiles as well, so they have an idea of the caliber of individuals that are coming. And then it's all about preparing them and getting them ready. I mean, we didn't start from there. When we first started our events, we made several errors. You know, we made several. You know, it was a learning curve for us as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't say errors. I would say improvements.
Yeah. So we've made a lot of improvements now. When I'm talking about the past, there were areas that needed improvement that we didn't see at the time, but we learned from them. You know, we learned from that situation, and alhamdulillah, we've improved it significantly now. Okay, so now we have a full structure. People get an agenda. They see exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. Then they do the one-to-ones. They have a limited amount of time to meet each other. They have a tick sheet of where they can tick off who they want to have a deeper conversation with. Then we collate all that information, we put it on the grid. Then we sort of like, you know, do the matches, so that's where the matches are. So put in all the details, and then we get them to have a further one-to-ones.
Have you ever had somebody come in for a second wife and third wife?
We get a lot of phone calls from people to say that we're looking for we're already married, we're happily married, we're not going to leave our wife, and we want to have a second wife. Third wife's not so often, I would say. But
and we're still waiting for the fourth one,
So with that being said, you know, we don't entertain that sort of...
my wife's going to ask me that. Why did you ask that question? What was the motive behind that? Nothing. So what's your approach for encouraging widows and divorcees to attend your events without feeling stigmatized? And you know how this whole our Pakistani culture is towards widows and divorcees, you know, and how it affects their marriage proposals for the future.
I do get a lot of divorcees coming to our events. I think it's a great thing that they are sort of still looking, you know, to get married. And they quite rightly should, because if they're quite young, they're not going to just be at home and not sort of live their lives. When I'm on the phone with someone and they show some anxiety or some concern, saying that, you know, I'm divorced and I'm not sure if I want to get back into trying to find somebody, but because I'm divorced, I feel my chances are going to be limited. I do encourage them. I do give them hope. And I feel that it's important that people shouldn't really feel in that way at all. And I think parents, you know, if your daughter's become a widow or is being divorced, they should also think of not sort of look at that and say, well, that's it, that's going to be your life now, and you just need to be at home now. They should also encourage them to try to find the right person, because if one person wasn't right for them, or if one person's passed away sadly, then the next person could be, you know, great for them. Who knows?
Absolutely. Is it 7 billion, 9 billion, something like that? You know, I'm sure there's got to be someone who's going to look after their daughter or their son or something. But it's crazy how our culture really kind of it's a very taboo kind of subject, isn't it? It's a very sad state that I just don't like that.
No, I don't like that either, because sometimes you find that a woman, she became a widow when she was 25 or something like that, and then she's just been a widow. She's just been living as a widow then for the rest of her life.
Fault.
Yeah, exactly.
It?
No,
it's not her fault, or divorcee. It's not her fault, or it's not his fault. Because,
so these divorcees that got married to the Prophet Muhammad Sallam, or these widows, it was always said that these women need supporting from a man. You know, they need that. So they wanted to support the women that were widows, that were divorced. Of course, financially, they were unable to support themselves back in those days. But then again, having said that, the first wife was financially very stable. Mm-hmm. But they still married. She was divorced and she wanted to marry them, and our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and they got married. Yeah. So I think it's something that the taboo thing, and people need to realize that they need to be more mindful that their life hasn't ended. Somebody's life may have ended, or somebody may have divorced and moved on, and that guy will get married again. And why should the girl not get married?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it's okay for the guy to do it, why
should it not be for the girl to do it?
Yeah,
as well?
Absolutely. It's just really, really sad when people actually think like that.
Of course, yeah.
And we don't want to get married. We don't want our son to get married to a divorcee or whatever.
When there's children involved, so for example, if there were children from the marriage, okay, and then if there's a daughter, the wife, the ex-wife has got the daughter, for example, there are certain rulings, that if she does decide to get married again, what happens with the girl? What happens with the daughter? If it's a son, it's a different matter, okay? So we talk about, we now have co-parenting, where if they're divorced and the child is normally would be living with the mother, in this country in particular. So then what rights does the father have of seeing the child? They do have rights, don't they? Yeah. And how can there be I do co-parenting. I'm doing it for clients at the moment, where one is living in a different state. These are USA based clients. So I've got one living in Florida and one living in California. Okay, and I do the co-parenting for them, and they have to fly over.
So how do you do the co-parenting?
So at the moment, the girl, the young girl, she the mother is the primary carer, and she's in Florida, and the father is in California. Okay.
So you have to fly out with the young girl?
I don't have to do anything. I just basically do a session with them every week, and what we do is we arrange for the parents to arrange for the daughter to meet the other parent. So they fly out. They fly out to each other. So one time it would be the father going out to where the daughter is in Florida, and stopping maybe a night or two and taking the daughter back to California, or he can stay in Florida for a few days. He needs to organize that, and then the other time it would be the mother bringing the daughter back to California.
Look, after all of this headache because somebody just has an ego problem.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, so the thing is that, but unfortunately, within our own communities, when there is a divorce, there's this thing where the mothers are very protective towards their children. They don't want the father to have any interaction or any sort of meetings with him. And I think that is something that, again, it's about mindset, and it's about thinking that, okay, if you're in a situation, that child is still that person's child, and they still have a right to meet them, but it's about the woman having to change her protectiveness and that thing where she can allow him to do that. Can you see that happening?
Okay. But what's your take? After this, I wanna go to some fun and light-hearted questions, right? Yeah. But what's your take on this whole feminism, independent woman, don't need a man, don't want a man? Because I think all of this, what we just spoke about, has influences from that. Yeah. Because, all right, I'll look after the little one. Fine, I'm earning my own money. I can potentially I'll be all right. Mm-hmm. But how does that affect the family now? The children.
The thing is that the child can never be loved by anybody else but the real father. The real father will only really feel the true love for his own child. And the real grandparents, the biological grandparents, because it's their blood, isn't it? It's their flesh and blood, basically. And, for the woman to go and marry a different man and expect that he's now daddy, or he's now, going to be your father, why would another man want to accept somebody else's child?
So now my main question is, should the children be in a divorce situation? Should the children go to the father, or should they stay with the mother?
They should be with both. They should have.
Well, first of all, we shouldn't have a divorce, right?
Yeah, shouldn't have a divorce. Yeah, if you're in a situation where there's been a divorce and there's children involved, then the mother. I know it's very difficult.
Because you just said when the mother gets married to someone else, he doesn't have to look after them.
No,
because
he doesn't.
It's not his. So technically, the children should go to the father because
Islamically.
Islamically, yeah. So they should go to the children. They should go to the father because these flesh and blood, right?
Yeah. And
he doesn't need another woman looking after the children, in sense of, like you said, the true love.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, another woman can nurture them, look after them, but they still belong to wherever they've come from.
Yeah.
Right. Where, like you said, with the woman, she's gonna go and get married to another man.
Yeah, which happens.
Yeah, which happens.
And sometimes she won't because of the children. Sometimes if it's a daughter and there's this issue about the mahram thing, that. But then when she marries the man and she's obviously living with him as a wife, then he does become the daughter's mahram. This is in the Quran as well. Yeah, so this is when she's married to the husband, the new husband, he's now her husband and she's living as his wife. Then the daughter and the new husband are mahram. But what I'm saying is that the love and affection that the real father can give her, the new family of the new husband can never give her that's just evidence.
It's natural, yeah.
So ideally, it would be good if both the parents could make an arrangement, so they would have like a parenting plan of when the daughter or the son would be living with the mother, when they would be living with the father, and both of them are taking responsibility of him. So the father will, because I see a lot of fathers that are going through mental health issues because they're not able to see their child. Yeah, so it's quite sad, and because the woman is using the child as a weapon and saying, well, okay, our divorce happened and you're never seeing this child again, which is really, really sad. Okay, so it happens, and I think it's for a woman, they just feel, well, why do you need, and it's not just your child, it's his child as well.
It's his blood and
it's
flesh,
his blood,
really.
If it wasn't for him, the child wouldn't be there, so that's a fact. So in terms of like these parenting agreements are something that people need to consider so that they can have a balanced, upbringing. Now, when it was a daughter, originally Islamically, if it's a daughter at the age of 7 and the woman then decides the wife then ex-wife decides to go and get married again, then the daughter would go to the father. Okay, because of the mahram thing and everything else, and the household might have other men that are not going to be her mahrams, yeah? And then you would have the boys; they could stay with the mother, because when they grow older, they would be able to support the mother then, financially, okay, being a woman. But now we're living in a completely different time where the mothers are
down society.
Yeah. So now we're looking at blended families as well. Yeah. So the new husband that the woman might be marrying, he might have children as well. So he might be then coming over to stay with dad. And then her children might be going to live with their father. So things have changed quite a lot.
Mishmash, pick and mix happening.
Pop culture thing, blended family and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's that.
Think about it, it can't be a problem.
Of course.
Your daughter be raised by another man.
Anything that's not natural is a problem.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, it becomes a problem, you know.
fathers don't want their daughters
with another person,
to
no
be growing
chance.
up with another man, you know.
No chance.
You know, so
No
it
chance.
is quite a sensitive topic to talk
Yeah.
about, but it's an important topic to talk about, because although we're a matchmaker and we're like a relationship coach, the complications that relationships bring about for individuals can include the children as well.
Absolutely.
So, you know, this is a complication, an issue that you have with your husband, or, you know, you have with your wife, but there are children involved here as well.
Yeah.
And what is life going to look like for that child? Do you understand?
Terrible.
If they're very
Yeah.
young, they might get used to or adjust with the situation. But if they're older,
If they're teenagers,
if they're
early
teenagers, they're going to have resentment. They're
Yeah.
going to have a lot of
They've got a
hate.
say.
Yeah,
they'll have a say.
They'll have a say.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go here.
yeah,
You know, there'll be a backlash.
yeah,
So let's hope there's no divorces. That's the main thing.
yeah, inshallah.
right?
And it doesn't need to happen. They can get support. They can get help, so
Yeah.
that, you know, these bad situations can be prevented, I guess, you know.
Yeah, definitely. So coming down to towards the end of our episode, I just want to have some fun and light-hearted questions, right?
It's always good to have them.
What's the most unexpected or funny way two people you have matched ended up hitting it off?
I'd say maybe the ones that you didn't expect to actually get matched. So we had this one, we had an event in Manchester, and my husband loves telling this story to everyone. So we had this event in Manchester, and as the event was ending, this Bengali boy, he turned up. He had booked for the event, but
Right.
he got lost, and he was driving around. His sat-nav wasn't working. He ended up coming right towards the end of the event, and he was panicking, and he was saying, oh my God, you know, I got lost and I didn't know where I was going, and, you know, can I join the event? And we said, well, the event's about to end now. We're kind of packing up now, and you've come too late. So as he was just looking around, as he would, looking at the girls, one of the girls caught his eye, okay?
Wow.
And he said, oh, I like her, and can I have a number? Of course, we comply with GDPR, so we're not allowed to give anybody any numbers unless
That
they
consent,
agree
yeah,
to share their numbers, okay? So we said, look, what we can do for you is we could take your number and we can ask her if she's happy to talk to you, and then, you know, who knows, yeah?
With consent.
So so we contacted her the next day, and we said that there was a guy who came in really late, and he saw
He's
you.
huffing and puffing.
She said, well, why did he, you know, he hasn't even spoken to me. How could he even pick me, you know? I said he probably thought that you were, you know, nice, and he wanted to talk to you.
That physical
and
attraction,
physical attraction. And she said, okay. And I encouraged her to speak to him. I said, look, just speak to him, see where it goes. And, you know, who knows, yeah? So she said, okay, auntie, give him my number, and we'll see where it goes. 2 months later, she contacted me. She said, sending me a picture and saying, auntie, guess who I got married to?
Wow.
And that was like really unexpected. And, you know, 2 months, that's all it took them. Yeah?
Wow.
To get
Look,
married.
the guy turns up late. I hope he wasn't late on his wedding day.
He came 2 months.
2 months?
Till the end, and then got married in 2 months.
Yeah, and
Wow.
she sent me the photograph. Auntie, look who I got married to. And I thought, oh my God, you know, and I was really happy for her, yeah?
Wow.
She was a divorcee, by the way, yeah? She was a divorcee, and she was Bengali as well. He was Bengali.
What were the chances of that?
Yeah, and look, if he was five more minutes late, that's it. He would have
See,
lost
this
his
is what
chance.
it is, isn't
So
it? It's
even if he was late, he still turned up.
Yeah.
He came.
Yeah,
He
he turned
tried.
up, he
His
turned up.
intention was right.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, it just goes to show what's written for you
Yeah.
you will
Come
get
to
that
you, it'll
no
come to you.
matter what.
It's true.
And that is such, just to believe in that is so true, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Because there's so much stress that goes off your shoulders.
Yeah.
Unnecessary stuff that, people
Yeah.
stress about. And when you think about it, it's just amazing. 5 minutes to the end of the show event. And I like that one.
Yeah, and she was
Just
leaving.
random.
She was leaving.
Wow.
She was on her way out, and he kind of like, how the head turns.
Just had to be.
That's a nice one. So his head was turning, and we were watching him as his head was turning. He said, "Who's she?" And he says, "Can I have her number?" I said, "No, sorry, you cannot have a number, but we know who she is, and what we'll do is we'll get in touch with her.
Wow.
If she's interested, she'll talk to you, and we'll see where things go." And he was so thankful as well that we actually did something for him.
Fantastic. My next question is, have you ever had a matchmaking request so unusual it made you laugh out loud?
We get them all the time.
I'm always laughing. Give me one that stands out.
Or two.
One or two that really stand out.
I can't really pinpoint one particular one, but like sometimes when someone's really, really old and they ask for somebody who's like, we'll send it. So for example, we had one guy who was 65. Okay. So he was, his wife had passed away, and then he said, "I want to get married again." So we showed him a few females that were like 58, 59, and he said, "No, I want to marry somebody who's 35." And we think, well, this is quite common for older men to be marrying younger women, and it just makes you laugh, doesn't it? Thinking that, what
stay
is
in
this?
your lane kind of thing.
Stay in your lane sort of thing,
You're not like an Arab sheikh that is a millionaire and people are like, no problem, you can have my daughter, no problem.
I don't even think, the girls, they're only going to be gold diggers if they're doing that anyway, So...
this is a very important question, right? If you could create the perfect spouse checklist, what 3 qualities would you put at the top? So, if you could create the perfect spouse checklist, what 3 qualities would you put at the top?
I would say deen.
Yep.
I would say their mindset, behavior. And, I don't know. Finance is important.
But it's not in the top 3.
I think it would be. I mean, each and every person has their own preferences. Okay. Some people, religion isn't important.
Wow.
Okay.
Really?
It's not really important for them. That's not their priority. That's not their number one list.
Wow.
But what I'm saying is, generally, most people will look for religion. They will look for, his status. They will look for beauty. Yeah, they would look for, whether they're good looking or whether they're, financially stable, like you said. So these are the 3 main ones that people would look for.
Wow.
But for me,
all that they come and go. All of those things they just come and go. Finance, money can come and go. Beauty comes and goes.
Yes.
And what was the third one? Status
comes and goes, yeah.
There's
Religion.
Exactly. So look at the people's priorities.
Yeah.
Totally opposite of what we've been told.
That's true.
That's why, there's a lot of divorce. Because when people start taking the makeup off, or the money, or the pocket starts going empty.
It's true.
That's when reality kicks in. You think, what have I done? I don't want this.
And the barakat in the marriages is, we have to look for what is the barakat in the marriage. The sincerity of the individual, making sure that they're not having these big lavish weddings as well. There's a lot of barakat when you have smaller marriages and weddings. Sorry, not marriages, but smaller weddings. And then also the understanding of each other.
Yeah.
The mindset, the connection with each other. If you're not connected to them, if you're not on the same page as them, then really there's a big risk. Marriage is a gamble, isn't it?
Of course. It's probably the biggest gamble you're going to take.
Yeah.
And it's a gamble with your life.
Yeah. It is. It's with your life, with your everyday, you're going to have to live with it every single day. So it is a gamble.
Yesterday, it was my 6th wedding anniversary.
MashaAllah, Mubarak.
And thank you very much. And with the little beautiful boy of ours.
MashaAllah.
And my wife's like, what? This is quite funny. She's like, what an amazing anniversary we had. Because she was at her mom's and I was with the boys.
Okay.
Right? Well, I had this planned out and everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's very difficult to get 15, 16 boys at the same time. So they were all dads there.
Yeah.
So I've decided to do a lads only barbecue at my new house.
Okay. Yeah.
And I sent them like over there, and I didn't realize that it was my wedding anniversary that day.
Forgot about it.
She goes, what?
You need to put on the alarm, innit?
She goes, what an amazing anniversary. I says, yeah, man, it was. The barbecue was going off, the drinks were going off, the steaks were the barbecue, you know, it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. She was like, how could you say that to me? I went, tomorrow we'll go out. So I have to take her out today. So
okay, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like it says, understanding.
Yeah.
I'm a very
remembering things.
I'm terrible
you know.
at that. I forgot half of the things coming here.
Yeah.
So I think in 6 years she's understood that now.
Mm-hmm.
She knows that there's no hope with this guy, especially when it comes to remembering things. I literally have to put everything in my diary. If I don't do it, he does it for me, or if he doesn't do it, my wife does it for me. So for me to remember things, it has to be in my face.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's gone.
But now she understands you. Now she knows you, so she's not judging you or challenging
she does,
you or
still
arguing with you because of
she's
that.
a woman, and like she's just saying all these feminists are gonna hate me now. Like, how dare you? But you know, closing off for someone serious about getting married in the next 12 months. What's the one thing they must start doing today?
They must start creating their profile. They must start sort of going down
love connection.
They must start
and see where you go in 2 months.
That's right. They must really start working on themselves first of all.
Yeah.
They need to, understand exactly what they want. They need to, when they're writing their profile, it shouldn't just be an exercise of just filling in the boxes, height and weight and what have you, the rest of it, their education. That's not what you get married to. It's the personality of the individual that you need to find out. Because everybody's got degrees, everybody's got a height, everybody's got, an age. That doesn't really matter. Yeah. What matters is the person that you're going to be married to. Would you be able to connect with them on a level that you could have a good, happy, long, loving relationship with them?
Absolutely.
Because unfortunately, there's a lot of people are many people are married, but are they really happy in their marriage? When they ask that question to themselves, am I really happy, or am I just living the life with this person? They're not really got meaningful relationships. And that's quite sad within our community. So we want to try to revive love and affection and empathy. And these are the emotions that we feel that are necessary to get back into that once you have that love for that person, the respect, the trust, all of these ingredients that would make your relationship more meaningful. That's what we want to try to achieve with marriages.
There's one question that I think I've seen so much on socials where they'll say the man should love the woman more, or they might say the woman should love the man more. What do you think of that?
So who should love more? It's a very, I think, like it's a question, like a very Western question.
Yeah.
Man should love the woman more. Why?
Why? I think the woman would love the husband more if he loves her more. I don't know. I mean, it has to be a balance,
it's a 50-50,
really. It's a
isn't
50-50.
You can't.
But I think the man being the leader of the house, so to say, he should be creating that loving home. Okay,
Yes.
He should be in charge of making sure that everything is in place and that there is that growth of love together. That it's something that's like that flame is always, the flame is always there, and that ignite that. Because it can quite easily be dimmed or blown out. So we need to make sure that marriage is not just about your duty and the expectations, but love is really important in love, because love will then show respect for each other. It will show empathy for each other. It would show that, okay, he's having some difficulties financially, I can help him, I can support him, if there's love there. But if the only motive is that, okay, he's my husband, he has to provide for me, I don't care what his situation is, the being caring towards your spouses as well, understanding their needs, their expectations, their desires, and giving your all to your relationship is really important. I think people have kind of just, it's all very materialistic, and all of it has just become very dull. Marriages have become just very dull. Of it now. Yeah, it's just become very dull. They're not very vibrant and happy, and even you find people going to restaurants and going on holidays, but there's no real emotion. The emotion
it's all for the socials.
It's just for the socials. Oh, look where we are. Here we are, and look where we're having a dinner. But there's no real, and those are the ones that you then find 2 months later, oh, they're having a divorce.
Yeah,
it's true,
lavish,
isn't it?
They're not focused on each other.
The biggest lavished weddings on social media will only last a couple of months, and you think, what was all that about? What was it all about? Everyone's talking about this wedding. Oh, did you see this wedding on social media, on Instagram? It was amazing. They did this, they did that. 2 months later, oh, they've divorced. You think, what?
One point I do want to make is that we talked earlier, we touched on Mehr, and what the girls are asking for these days. And there's a social media influencer, I always forget her name, she's an Arab, okay? Right. She, at her wedding, she's very, very famous, she's got millions and millions of people sort of following her. And at her wedding, she asked for the Quran as a Mehr.
I think I did see that.
And the thing is that it just shows that how much, she's put her faith into her relationship, and alhamdulillah, you see them two happy, and it's a genuine happiness that you can actually see with them, because there's no, okay, I want this and I want that, and love should be, there should be no sort of tag, no number.
There's no price to it.
There's no price to it,
I always say that to my wife when she doesn't get anything. There's no price to this.
So I think it's love is such a beautiful thing, and I mean, when I called our application Love Connection, and I got a lot of negative thing from the community, especially from the sort of the scholars type of thing. Why did you call it Love? It's a very vulgar name. And I says, well, how can love be a vulgar name? Love is the core of a relationship. That is the core. If there's no love there, then why are you in that relationship?
There is no connection, is there?
There is no connection, So love is an important thing in marriage. If you do, a lot of people, unfortunately, in our communities, they live in one house, but they're living in separate bedrooms. They hardly talk to each other. They cook their own meals. They just for the dunya, just for the world, they're showing that I'm husband and wife. Oh, they're husband and wife, but they probably don't even communicate with each other. They're living a life, and they don't talk to anybody about it. Only when something comes up, they say, oh, well, she lives in the other room and I live in the other room, and that's madness. Why are you living together in that way? Why not
just try so the community is happy?
Just keeping the problem. Just people pleasers.
People pleasers.
People pleasers.
And they'll go through hell themselves. And
for the children, for the community, but marriage is about love, and that has to be the core of the marriage. I would say that has to be the main thing of the marriage, and then the respect and everything else follows. Then everything else follows.
So, what is your message to parents who are involved in the matchmaking process? How can they help instead of hinder? That's my last question.
So I think they have to allow their children...
Take a step back.
And they have to allow them to make their own decisions. If they are happy to marry somebody who's a couple of years older than them, they shouldn't stop them from doing that. If they're happy to marry somebody who's divorced, then that's fine by them. That let them make their own choices. Let them grow up as adults, because they are adults. Don't make them, mummy's boys. If they want to move away to a different city and get married, if the girls want to go and live with the guy, if they're from Birmingham and they want to go and live in, I don't know, Manchester or Scotland, they found someone there, let them do that. Don't keep them at home so that, okay, and don't teach them or guide them that if you have a problem, you can come back home. Tell them that they have to learn to live with this person now, and they have to, give them guidance in the right way.
I mean, you don't want them to feel that even if the guy is being abusive, right, hitting the girl, and that they still can't come back.
If it's toxic, then they need to come back.
Yeah, of course.
But if it's something that's minor, that happens, then that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen to them, guide them. If need be, get professional advice, and give them the guidance, because I know that a lot of the youngsters don't want to get married these days. Yeah. They prefer to live the life that they're living. Tell them that they're not going to be in the same position forever. Mm-hmm. They might feel that way today, but in 5 years' time, they might regret this time that they're losing, not getting married now. And through their experience, they need to share that with their young children, to say that now you're feeling this, but you might miss the time where that's going to be crucial for you, and later there will be a regret. Yeah. So give them that sort of support, I would say, and guidance to make better informed decisions, really.
So the mommy's boys and the real men.
Yeah.
What is the difference? Last question. Because I feel this is one thing I feel, right? Mommy's boy is a problem.
Yeah. And
real men, for some women, is a problem as well. Because when men tell them set boundaries, they don't like that. They think, oh, he's what's that word?
Controlling.
Controlling, misogynistic, toxic. But what do real men do now? He's going out providing. Now he's providing. Of course, he's going to put some boundaries and what you can, what you can't do within the limit, But why is it becomes a problem with a real man now? So
I think sometimes you just can't satisfy individuals. Yeah. So, but when they are setting boundaries, those boundaries need to be, both of them need to set them together. Mm-hmm. So it shouldn't be a boundary that the guy has set and she disagrees to. And if she feels that that's controlling her, then she needs to tell him that, I feel that this is going to limit my life, and that I feel that's controlling.
In terms of, say, okay, the guy is saying, look, you can't go out after a certain time, wear certain clothes, do X, Y, and Z. Not the fact that you can't work. You can't go to your mom's house. You can't do this. You can't do that. Certain boundaries which, okay, fair enough. If that's what the guy wants, that's what the guy wants. He's the provider of the house. He's the leader of the house. So these that's things, like a real man kind of thing. Yeah. Because there's always, people are always complaining about the mummy's boy. We need real men. They come along, they get labelled as misogynistic and toxic and everything, and then they think, right, okay, I was better off just doing my own thing.
There was this really funny video sort of on one of the social media platforms. They were saying that all the women, they want real men, but they've got fake nails, they've got fake lashes, they've got fake filters, they've got fake extensions. Everything's fake about them, but they want to have the real man. So I think with this being said, yes, most girls do want to marry men. They don't want to marry mummy's boys.
Which is fine.
Yeah. And these things, in terms of what the man then wants, he needs to discuss before the marriage, so that there's no surprises after they get married. So if he feels that I don't want her to wear a particular kind of dress or clothes, then he should say that this is my expectation, that these are the clothes that I prefer my wife to wear. Are you happy with that? Then at least she knows that she's had an informed discussion with him. She knows what to expect after the marriage as well, so that there's no, after getting married and all the rules are now changing, I think that would be quite a bad sort of surprise for her. And maybe she likes it, maybe she doesn't like it.
Well, then
maybe
it's
she
her
can adjust it.
decision
But
make.
most people do hide what they want, and that don't actually bring it to surface.
You know
that
why
they
that
actually
is?
do it after the marriage.
Yes, you know why that is?
Why?
Because they have that physical attraction with that person.
Yeah.
And once they're married, okay, now I'm going to change her.
Let me trap her. And,
Yeah. It happens because they like what they see, but now they've married her. Okay, now I'm going to change her because I don't want her to wear or do X, Y, and Z, and that's it. But this girl has probably been like this for 35 odd years.
Yeah, it's a process, isn't it?
Yeah, so you rather speak to that person, and if she says no, they'll be like, oh crap, she was 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
I've lost it. I should have not told her this.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't have
so
asked her
the thing is that, like, for example, some men want the wife to wear a hijab, some men don't. Well, so that might be one of the questions that could come up. So he would prefer his wife to wear a hijab, and maybe she doesn't wear it, at the beginning. But you need to remember that her journey is going to be her journey. So it's the approach or the way that the man actually says it to her.
It might take time.
It might take time, but so allow her to make those decisions herself. Maybe provide her with the support to get there. Maybe she wants to do it herself as well.
Yeah, I mean,
because sometimes some women,
right, let it grow.
Yeah,
right. You can't expect to plant a seed and you've got fruit the next day. Right? That woman's probably had 35, 40 years of no scarf.
Yeah.
Now that you've planted the seed that this is what you expect or you like, maybe give it a few months, give it a year or something. Maybe she come around and she does wear it.
So maybe somebody marries somebody who wears a hijab, for example, and she might decide to take it off for any reason later on. Then what happens? So we don't know, because we've been created as free will individuals. We have our own choice. That's why we're humans. We're not angels. Okay, so as humans, we are created with free will, and if she, for any reason, decides that I don't want to wear the hijab now, and she takes it off, then is that going to work as well? But everybody's an individual. You need to allow them to live their life and work with that person, tell them what you feel about things, and hopefully they can hear you and they listen to you and they can change their ways. It can work both ways. There might be areas that the wife gets married to the husband and she sees certain areas that she wants him to improve on, she wants him to change in, and then she can she feels a bit reluctant to say that initially, like you said, because she doesn't want to lose him, because she feels he ticks a lot of the boxes for her, but she feels that she could do a little bit of work on him, and maybe these areas that she feels that need a bit more work on, she can help him. So it's a partnership, isn't it? It's a partnership.
You got to compromise. You got to talk to that person.
Absolutely.
And see where you can compromise.
That's right.
Without compromise, nothing works.
Yeah.
Right. Nothing works. No matter how good looking someone is.
Yeah.
If they're toxic, and that's it. You could be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It could be, whatever. But
so the behaviors are really important to have a look at, because if somebody's like a narcissist, or somebody's like a control freak, or somebody's, that's going to be a big issue for a person.
Yeah.
So looking at how they are with others, what sort of feedback you gain in terms of their behavior, that's going to be really, really important to find out. But other things, like we've mentioned, these are things that people can change and they can adjust.
Yeah.
Be flexible on.
But on that note, Gazala, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's nearly 2 hours,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew it was going to go because it's such an interesting topic.
It is,
and you could talk about. There's so many things that you can talk about.
And there's so many people that are now kind of jumping onto the bandwagon. I want to do relationships. I want to do. Have you noticed that?
Everyone's becoming an.
I did a video. You must have seen my TikTok, and it had 3 million views on it.
I did. Yeah.
And that was just, I was in town with my grandkids and my daughter-in-law, and I told her to take the boys, and I just want to make a quick video, and it was just a short video. It's not even a minute long, and my Urdu's really bad. So because I'm a Punjabi, we're from a Punjabi family. So. I spoke in Urdu and I knew it was crap, right? And then I did it about 2 or 3 times.
You know what I said to my wife? Now that you're in front of me. I was like, I was seeing that video. I was like, Urdu is not her first language.
Yeah, and I did that video, and I did it right, and I thought, okay, I'll just put it on. And basically, what I was doing was I was creating a matchmaking platform for people,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So I said, okay, you know, are you looking for a रिश्ता? आप रिश्ता देख रहे हैं, आप अपने लिए, आपके किसी जानने वाले के लिए, आप इसमें लिखे, आप अपने डिटेल्स लिखे, अपनी उम्र, अपना शहर, you know, जो और भी कुछ डिटेल्स है आप डाल दें, तो जो भी देखेगा वो आपको कांटेक्ट करेगा, कांटेक्ट करेगा, तो आपस में आप बात कर लेना, yeah. So I did that video, and it just started going viral, yeah. And then we did the event in Barking, and my husband was talking about it, and he goes to me, he goes, because all of that video that you got with all those, why don't you post that again? I said, I can't post that video again. He said, yeah, just revamp it. It's been almost a couple of years now. You did that, almost 2 years, a year and a half, and why don't you just revamp it and repost it? I said, okay, then I'll repost it. So I just put like the title and just changed it a little bit, and I reposted it, and that got 1.8 million views. And every single matchmaker started to copy exactly the same format.
Oh my!
They copied the same format, and they said, "आप रिश्ता," and the people that hadn't even spoken it, रिश्ता देख रहे हैं, आप आए, हम इधर लिखे, notes में लिखे, comments में लिखे. Everybody started that Kamran guy, that matchmaker Mo and Alicia copied it. Cameron copied it. There was a few matchmakers that copied it. Yeah. They got loads of response as well, okay? And so once I did that, then I started seeing videos when you're scrolling up, and my voice and other people putting different videos on, and it's my voice. Ab rishta dekh rahe hai. I got 120 odd videos that people had used my voice with their content.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought this is mad. What's wrong with these?
That's brilliant.
People,
See, sometimes the most basic video will do
basic.
wonders. It's just the content.
Urdu, I'm telling you, you know, or any Urdu video I do, I get a lot of views for that.
I've seen that now. People even, if they're selling something,
Yeah.
do it in Urdu.
But you know, if you mix a bit of Urdu, a bit of English, you know, like when I do my lives,
I think we should do
when
the
I do my lives,
and mix
my
podcasts.
Urdu's really bad. Like when I do my, you know, I do the radio show as well on Unity FM.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
I do the matrimony show every Friday.
Oh, okay.
So what I do is I do like the first, before the break, I do it in English, and then the second part I'll do in Urdu.
Oh, we spice it up after the break.
So sometimes what I do is I do both in English.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just mix them up, and they work really well. I get a lot of calls when I do the Urdu one. I get more calls.
That's why I was thinking, I've heard this voice, because I listen to Unity FM quite often, you know, whenever I'm driving, or I'll try not to listen to anything
Friday,
other
4
than
p.m.
Yeah. And I was thinking, this voice is so familiar.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't get my head around. Now I know where I heard this voice. Oh,
I do
nice.
this. I've been doing it for about 2 years now.
Oh, fantastic.
I kind of like be a bit low profile kind of thing. You know, a lot of people go to these events, and I went to that one only because Abid Khan.
Yeah.
He was saying Baji because he's a nice guy. He's a very close
lovely guy,
family friend.
Very nice guy, yeah.
And then he said, Baji, you don't come to the events and come. And I said, okay. And then he put me on the first table and stuff, you know.
Right at the front,
I was right to the front table. Mahr, he gave me a lot of respect, a lot of.
No, he's a lovely guy.
He's a very nice
guy.
guy.
He put us right at the end, though.
Huh?
He put us right towards the end.
We didn't get that
so I still need to have a conversation with you about that.
No, I think it was him and, you know, Sarfraz's daughter.
Yeah.
Sarfraz's daughter, she's getting married now, I think, this week.
Cha.
And she kind of like said, we'll just put auntie on this table. And then he didn't object to everything. He said, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, put her there.
That was
because,
nice of him.
That was nice of him. So Yeah, so but apart from that, I don't really go to a lot of social
Because you're
settings.
busy already
'Cause I'm
yourself,
busy, that's what
as
it
it
is.
is, yeah.
Family and everything else.
Family, kids, and then you got your events.
But how was the stuff that we did here, covered here? Was it okay?
Fantastic.
Was it all right?
Really, really good. Yeah, I was
Really?
really happy. We're still rolling, by the way.
Are we?
Yeah. And
Okay.
so yeah, no,
I thought we'd be-
fantastic. No, we're still
No,
rolling.
it's all right. I think there's a lot to cover when it comes to. Don't put all the other ones where I've said that everybody copied me and stuff. Right?
I was thinking, yes.
I think we should put that.
Of course, well, there's nothing wrong with that because at the end of the day, no, but at the end of the day, they got success, you got success. The bottom line is people got married or
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, you know.
The community. It's not like you hinder the community, so I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's
it's-
fine. That's fine.
It's nothing.
She's going to say, when did I copy you? When did I say, okay, let's see.
Say, come and talk to me.
I've got timestamp on my clothes.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, inshallah. The bottom line is if they can benefit from you, you
it's
can
true.
benefit from them. There's nothing
It's just
wrong with that.
content
There's-
creation,
of
isn't
course.
it? People have different
There's
ways.
nothing original on the internet.
Yeah,
Someone somewhere has made it, and millions of people have
I've
copied it.
It's true. Yeah,
What's so bad about that? But anyways, Gazala,
yeah.
thank you very much for your
so
time.
much. Yeah, thank you.
And inshallah, we'll see you around on these not the marriage events because we're married now.
No,
but
I am going to be
um,
going to the Jutney and
the
Chat
network events,
network
inshallah.
events,
So
inshallah.
thank you very much for your time
Yeah,
once again,
no,
and
thank you.
God bless you with everything that you're doing. Fantastic work,
Thank you.
and yeah,
We're
thank you
still
very
rolling,
much.
are we?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Now we know.
Thank you so much for having